Welcome, City Skylines fans and players. This is going to be a quick tutorial on the Traffic Manager mod. And we are celebrating the new year, 2022. And I wanted to wait after the Airport DLC came out. I wanted to wait for all the mods to update, all the patches to go through, and everything to get upgraded before we actually did any of these tutorials. So I decided to wait until 2/2/2/2, February 22nd of 22. We're going to release these tutorials. Everything should be updated and ready to go. So let's go ahead and do the traffic manager. Load screen, move it, and traffic manager is probably my top three that I use. I download almost immediately. There's a few others I use for detailing, but as far as for playing the game, excuse me. As far as playing the game and enjoying the game, those are probably the top three that I play with. All right, traffic manager. It comes down as this little stoplight looking thing here. It is on version 11, and it usually appears up here somewhere, but I've moved it down to the toolbar. Let's see. Click on that. It pulls up the menu, and there are a number of buttons in here. There's 12 buttons total. It will be a little bit longer of a tutorial here because we're going to go through all of them, and some of them are a little bit detailed, but we'll get through them. It won't be more than about 30 minutes or so, give or take. Probably a little bit less than that, honestly. First one here is the stoplight toggle, and there is a vanilla version of this. But if you're going to use the traffic manager at all, I would suggest to use the traffic manager for the stoplight toggle also, and not use the vanilla version because it used to cause problems. I'm not sure if they've got that fixed or not, but it used to cause issues. The game kind of got confused. But this button, really simple. Just go to an intersection. Actually, this one, we'll go over this in just a second here. Remove time stoplight. All right, and the stoplight toggle. Just toggle stoplights on and off. Easy. That's a three-way stop there. Turn that on, and it's got stoplights. So nothing really difficult about that one. This one here is time traffic lights. And the way that works is if you have turn lanes, left turn lanes, right turn lanes, really complicated intersection, you can click on that and hit setup, and it will automatically set up a time stoplight for you. So it will have the turn lanes and everything all timed out. You can do it manually. I will go over that here in just a second. I'm going to look like I see a problem with this particular lane here. For some reason it's turning left and it should not have been. Okay. Go back to the time stoplight. See, it's automatically set up. But you can remove that and go back in and manually set one up. You just add a step, and it looks like it's, I think it defaults to 1 and 1, so you want to change it to something a little bit more reasonable. 5 and 10, or 10 and 15, something like that. And then you can kind of play with it to see the timing, how the timing works with the traffic. But you basically break it down in steps. So if you're facing this direction, you want this lane to be green and this lane to be green. So these guys are turning left. These guys are going straight. That's step one. Add a step. Switch around to this guy here. And then obviously there's no left turn here. So there's right turns here. So you can't have them turning right and them turning left at the same time. So what you want to do is you want to turn the left turn off. Oh, you want to add a step, sorry. Your next step, there we go. And then turn the left turn off. Let's see, left turn off there. And then go ahead and turn the straight on and the right turn for this step. So now these guys are turning, and these guys are going straight, and these guys are going straight. So you add a step, and then add another step. And so now what we want to do is we want to turn all these guys to red and go to these guys here. Now this lane here, obviously we're not using this center lane because we do not have a straight. So this particular one, we will have a right turn and a left turn. And these guys will turn, and these guys will all stop. So then that works. All set up and ready to go. You just hit start, and now it will run through those cycles. Obviously, the more intersections, if you have a four-way intersection, it's a little bit more complicated. If you have a four-lane road or a six-lane road, so you have a left turn, a straight, and a right turn lane on all four sides, then it really gets a little bit more complicated. But you could do some really fun things with it, and it's kind of cool. But that's pretty straightforward. I'm going to stop this, remove it, go back in, and then just set it up, and then let the game set up a time stoplight for me, and then we'll see how it works. And then if I want to go in and change it later, I will. Alright, the next button here is the manual stoplight, which will go down to, actually, let's just use this. I know we just set this up, but we'll use this one. The manual stoplight, you have a stoplight here, switch on to the manual, click that, and what you can do is you can manually control these lights. And say you want to turn this green in this green, so that traffic is straight. Now just hit unpause on the game, and it will run like that, and it will not change till you do something with it. It will not change at all. Now the second you click off of it, it goes back to normal. It goes back to working the way it did. And then obviously, yeah. So you wanted to do that. You didn't want to turn left here, but you wanted these people to turn right. So that will work just fine. But you can manually control that. So say you've got a traffic congestion because of one thing or another. You're trying to fix something or something like that. You can go in and fix traffic to try to eliminate the backup, and then start it over again to see if it actually worked. So there's certain advantages to that. Okay, so we'll eliminate that. Now we'll go back to the timed traffic light, and we'll leave that on there. Okay, this next button is the arrows. Now, I believe that there is a vanilla way to change these also, but just like the stoplight toggle, I would stick with one way or the other. If you don't have Traffic Manager, use the vanilla, obviously. That's your only choice. But if you have Traffic Manager, I would use the Traffic Manager for both of these and not the vanilla version to change it. I would just use one or the other because it used to get confused. But you can go in and you just click on the node. Actually, it's the end of the segment is how it works. It's not really the node. But you click on that, and then you can go in and it changes the lanes, the number of lanes you have, and then you can go in and toggle these however you want. So you have this guy turning left into nothing, but you can go in and change these, and that's pretty much it. It works pretty nice there. But you could have 2 lanes turning left with 1 lane also turning straight. Create left turn lanes, create right turn lanes, that type of thing. A number of different things you can do with that. Alright, the next button here is the despawning, and the way this works is basically a easy hard button, really is what it is. With despawning on, when traffic backs up to a certain point, it reaches a certain level, the end of the traffic backup, the cars will automatically despawn, and they will go back home or go back to work, and then they will try to find another route to wherever they're going. Okay, so that's the despawn. Most players play with it off because it makes it more challenging, makes the traffic more realistic. This here is the Junction priority signs. Say you have a junction that doesn't have stoplights. We'll go down here to this junction here, which has a stoplight, so that doesn't help. But this one doesn't. Okay, this one doesn't. And there we go. What that is, you can go in and change these uh, different signs. And to the way this works is you have the stop and the right of way. I've actually just updated these. Yeah, I've updated these. But these are right of way signs, not really used in the United States. So if you're from the U.S., you probably have never seen one of these before unless you've been to Europe or Asia. I'm not sure if they use them in Asia or not. But that basically, in the United States, if there's no signs, you have the right of way. In other countries, some other countries, there's actual right of way signs that they post, so that way you know you have the right of way. So these guys have got to stop. If you switch this to stop, then there's a four-way stop, and all lanes have to stop, and then they kind of usually here in the United States, it's the driver on the right. If you arrive at the same time, the driver on the right goes first, but that may differ in different states too. But that's pretty much it. This does work with roundabouts. The roundabouts are kind of the same way here. The traffic coming onto the roundabout gives the right of way is the yield sign, and then the traffic inside the roundabout have the right of way. So all the oncoming traffic gives the right of way or has the yield sign. One thing that you can do is, like this roundabout is not set up, have this button clicked, hold the shift key down. The roundabout becomes that blue color. Just click on that and automatically sets it up for you. So all the inbound traffic has to give the right of way to the traffic inside the roundabout. So that works good. This here is the junction restrictions, and we'll go over here to a more complicated junction here, intersection. Click on that, and there's a little bit of things here, a few signs here. So okay, first thing is pedestrian sign. This has them turned on so pedestrians can cross, even though there's no crosswalk here because of the way the road is set up, the graphics. But there is a crosswalk actually there. They will cross there and there and there. You can turn these on and off, so now no pedestrians can cross the road anywhere around here. This one here is turn on red. So this allows you to turn on red. This is a new function. I'm not sure, to be honest. I'm not sure how well it works or how well it doesn't work, because it is new with the new patch. This one here, the way this works, actually we'll come back to that. This one here is to change lanes in the middle of, that's a bad example, we'll use it over here. Change lanes in the middle of the intersection. So a driver is coming down this road. He has the green light. But with this turned on, he can change the lanes in the middle of the intersection. So he can move from the left lane into the right lane through the middle of the intersection. He can use this node to move, so he doesn't have to go down to this next node or this next node to do that. It's defaulted to off because I think it's illegal in most places. I know here in the United States it's mostly illegal. You cannot change lanes in intersections or railroad crossings. But it might be legal somewhere. Who knows? U-turn. If you're wanting to do a switchback intersection or something like that, you can turn the U-turn on. Or if for some reason, like this particular road has a medium in the middle of it, and you had businesses on both sides of it or something, you can have a U-turn turned on, so that way traffic can access both sides of the road. Causes a few traffic backups depending on how busy your road is, but it does work. Okay, now this last button here, this one here, what this does when this is turned on, a good example for that would be trying to see if there's an intersection that we could use that would be a good example for that. Well, we'll use this imaginary intersection here, even though this technically has a stoplight, but we're going to turn that stoplight off. Okay, so what we'll do, we'll go back to the junctions, the signs, and then if we turn this on, the traffic coming both directions here will not recognize this. The cars will not recognize this as an intersection, meaning they will not slow down at all. So even though this would be a yield situation or probably a stop situation there, this oncoming traffic on both sides here would not recognize this as an intersection, will not slow down, will not do anything. You would typically only use that if it was a small road that didn't have a lot of traffic. Maybe like a country road or a dirt road, maybe going into a small neighborhood or something like that is really the only time that you would use that. Okay, so the next button is the speed limit. You can toggle between kilometers and miles per hour. And there's a couple other functions here that let's see here. Yeah, there's a couple other functions here that I'm not really familiar with that are kind of new. Edit lane, speed limit. Oh, that sets it to lane. Okay. Yeah, it sets it to lane. Yeah, default road for road type. Yeah, but anyway, just click on this mile per hour. You can go all the way from. I don't know why that switched back. You can go all the way from 5 miles an hour, all the way up to no restriction whatsoever. Which here in the United States, we have no. There are no interstates. I think the highest interstate in the United States is like 80 out in western Texas. I think is the highest actual speed limit anywhere. But like in Germany and stuff, you would have it in kilometers an hour, and then you would have the autobahn would be unrestricted, so it would be no speed limit listed on there. One thing you can do on this is if you hold the shift key down and say I wanted to change this to 40, hold the shift key down and hit the 40. And it will change all the speed limit on that road between the intersections. So between, let's see here, yeah, between this intersection going all the way over to the intersection here on the other side, it changes it. changes it to 40. I think that's about it for speed limit. This one here is vehicle restrictions. So you can restrict vehicle types depending on the type of road you want. For some reason, I've got vehicles, trucks restricted in this. I guess it would be the left lanes. Yeah, it would be the left lanes. No, it would be the right lanes. No, it's the left lanes. Yeah, it'd be the left lanes. Yeah, I've got trucks banned in the left lanes here. But you just hold the shift key down and you can unban them. And you can also hit the button here and ban all vehicles, and then go back and hand pick what you want. You can also allow all vehicles. And then restrict the entire road, which is basically what the shift key does too. These different vehicles, this is civilian car traffic, this is bus traffic, taxis, delivery trucks, tractor trailers, and like the little box trucks and everything. Those all count as trucks. And then you have recycling, which I believe is just garbage. I think it's just the garbage trucks. That's it. And then the SOS, I think the death care falls under SOS. So police, death care, fire trucks, ambulances, all that fall under the SOS vehicles. So you could do some pretty cool stuff with this, like if you had a really busy highway and you wanted to restrict trucks to the right 2 lanes and have the left 2 lanes or the left lane as cars only. You could do that sort of thing. Obviously, you could create your own bus lanes without having the bus lanes. So, I mean, you could create your own bus lanes on any roads without having the bus lane roads. Let's see here. One other thing that you can do, which I did over here in the other part of the city, and I'll get over here in just a second. In this little research lab here, I used a road to create a kind of fake runway. So say you're using it for one reason or another, and I put 2 of these roads together, and it's a situation where I know a car would never need to be, or even a emergency vehicle, SOS vehicle would never need to be there because they do have road access everywhere else. So I banned all road access on this, so there won't be any cars on there at all, and it makes it a little bit more realistic. So say if you were messing with that, wanted to create needed a gray network surface for something, or if you wanted to use a road for a driveway or something like that, you could restrict that roadway and make it work. It's pretty much about it. The parking, it basically just restricts the parking. So we'll get to, I think these roads here have parking. Yeah, they do. Basically, you can turn the parking. If they've got parking on the side of the road, you can turn that on and off. Shift key, same thing. Hold the shift key down, and it's basically between the intersections. So from this intersection all the way around until it gets to this intersection, and then you can turn it back on. So this one here, use this button very sparingly. It is a clear all button, and this clears all of the traffic everywhere in your city. And it used to, I'm pretty sure it still does all of the traffic, including all of your mass transit. So trains, monorails, trolleys, buses, subways, everything. And then obviously all of your SOS vehicles, all of your garbage, everything, and then obviously all of your cars are banned. The problem with that is when you ban it, when you banish it or erase it all, clear it all, then it all has to come back all at once. And then all of a sudden you have all this traffic and all this stuff trying to, and a lot of times it can break your city. It could take hours for it to sort itself out. So I would use that clear traffic button with very, very sparingly. I would not use it. Would not recommend using it. I've learned from my mistakes. I will, I've learned from my mistake. What can I say? I think that's it for the traffic managers mod. It is a great mod. It works wonders. You do some pretty wonderful things as far as creating different. You know what? I don't think we did the road connectors. Now that I think about it, we went right to the arrows and didn't do the road connectors. We'll do those real fast. All you're doing is not road or lane connectors. You just pick on these just like the intersection marking tool, and you're just creating paths for traffic. And it does the same thing as the arrows, and it will change the arrows. So like right here, I have this turning left. I also have this going straight, but if you picked it and had it turn left, it will automatically add a left arrow in there. So it does change the arrows too. I would use this one sparingly also. There's certain situations where you really need to use it because you have so many lanes, and say you have so much traffic that you need people turning left here and people turning say you have people turning left here, but you also need people going straight here. But by having them turning left into the closest lane and going straight into the furthest lane, they're never going to cross paths. Doesn't really happen in real life, but you can do it in the game, and that alleviates some traffic congestion. There's some other scenarios too where you could have people turning left and people turning right, where they're turning into the closest lane. They're turning into the closest lane on this side, so they don't cross paths. You can do that too. There's a lot of other things that you can do with it. There's certain scenarios where you could really have some fun with it, but it is a hog when it comes to resources. If you have every intersection in your city set up with these, it will use a lot of resources on your computer. So I would use it only when you have to, and use the arrows most of the time, because the arrows will do the job. And you really, most of the time, you really don't need it. Like this particular intersection here, you would not want to use these. There's really no reason to do this. Unless traffic got really, really bad. Even then, I don't think I would really want to use them. Because it's just not warranted here. So I would just use the traffic arrows to tell the traffic exactly what to do, and then that would alleviate that resource situation there. All right, so now we are done. So yeah, right about the 28-minute mark. So that's about what I thought. This is going to be the longest tutorial. I think the next one's going to go over 2 or 3 other. Maybe three to four other mods that are kind of smaller that you just kind of download and forget, but you do use them, and it's still going to be only half this length. This is kind of the lengthiest one because there's so much in it. If I did forget anything that anybody sees, let me know in the comments there. If you have any suggestions about the channel, please let me know, and hit that like button. It'll help the video. And also, if you know anybody that could benefit from the video, please share it with them. And support the channel. Subscribe to the channel. Please help the channel with hitting the subscribe button. And this is another. Before I go, this is another real quick use for those lane connectors. Is like here, I'm trying to get people to get out of the center lane. You can force them to change, and then also on the highway, you can create scenarios where they can only change one lane at a time. So if you have somebody in this far lane, and then they can only go to the center lane at this node, and then they get to this node, and then they can go over to this lane, and then vice versa. So that way you can't have somebody going from this lane all the way over, because they will do that, unless you restrict the lanes. So if it's real heavy traffic and you've got cars doing that, you can restrict that, and it helps. It also helps if you've got a roundabout with a ramp on the inside and a ramp on the outside. It keeps them from going across the entire 3 or 4 lanes on your roundabout when you just force them to go around the roundabout to change lanes at every node, and that helps congestion too. So anyway, okay, so I promise this is the end of the tutorial. Thank you for sticking with me the entire time. Subscribe to the channel to help the channel, and hit that like button, and we'll see you next time. Thank you.